Touchdown Tampa Bay, you're listening to the PewterCast.
Welcome to the PewterCast. I am Brent Allen, your host, joined as always by my good friend Ren Daxt. Ren, it is time for our final thoughts episode coming off this London game, this Bucs, Panthers. Who's excited for tonight?
Somebody is, I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Somebody out there.
Yeah.
Somebody out there. Let's bring up the energy. Somebody out there who's listening is excited.
They saw it's probably more so because they saw PewterCast pop into their podcast feed as opposed to, woohoo, we're going to talk about this game again.
Yeah. Yeah, boy, are we going to let you guys down.
Oh, man.
We were talking before the show, we're just like, bleh, like, bleh, like last the bye week, because I don't know if I could take it.
Right.
I don't know if I could take anymore.
Right. Well, this is our final thoughts episode. This is the show where it's been a couple of days since the game. We've had a chance to kind of come down off the emotional side of it. Maybe watch some of it, which, Ren, I don't think you have. I know I haven't watched a lick of it because really, who wanted to watch that again anyway? I don't. Have you?
Me? No.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Okay. I just didn't want to speak for you. I was just making an assumption.
So during the
there.
show, I can knock down. Well, Jameis was only responsible for 3 of those 5 interceptions.
Right.
Come on.
So we're going to do that. Also, normally we would have a guest on the show, but Ren, we don't this week.
Yes.
So today's show, with it being the bye week and everything, this is just going to be you and me tonight, Ren. And so we'll jump straight into our final thoughts coming off the game, and then we're going to go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just saying we didn't think we could be like fake nice and polite to a guest,
right?
So we didn't want to like bring somebody on and start yelling at them.
Like, what the hell is wrong with this team?
What's going on?
Right.
Don't give me that coach's talk.
Right. Don't spin this. And what, you media guy, you're supposed to like our team. Who the hell are you talking about? Yeah, you can't talk that way about my Bucs. It's we just couldn't do it either way. So this is just Ren and I. It's the bye week. We're also going to go ahead and mash in all the emails and everything that we have gotten into this episode. So kind of mashing it up with this bye week. So Ren, that is what we're dialing up on today's episode of the PewterCast. You know, with popular podcasts like Serial and Netflix documentaries like Making a Murderer, it's no surprise that audiences are obsessed with true crime. And if that's you, then you definitely need to check out Hunt a Killer. Hunt a Killer is a murder mystery box that immerses you in an ongoing experience. With every delivery or episode, you will dive deeper and deeper into the case, sifting through piles of documents, evidence, audio recordings, case files, eliminating suspects until you finally crack the case and catch the killer. Now, you might have heard Ren and I discussing this on a previous episode of the PewterCast, but let me tell you, after playing my first box, I could not wait to get my hands on the second box and try to continue solving this murder. It really is a whole lot of fun. In fact, my wife, who didn't actually want to hunt a killer with me at first, saw the box and everything that was inside and how real this entire thing feels, and she made me start over so that she could catch up. The evidence and clues are things that you actually put your hands on. Video and audio footage you actually see and hear. In our first box, there was a yearbook, there was a koozie, there was a map, evidence bags filled with stuff. I can't even tell you what's there because I don't want to spoil anything for you. I love this game. And that's why I'm so glad that we were able to hook up with huntakiller.com to give you guys a special offer. Right now, just go to huntakiller.com and sign up and use the word PewterCast for 20% off your first box. Again, make sure to use the code PewterCast, that's all one word, for a 20% off discount and to show your support for the PewterCast. See if you have what it takes to solve the murder of Charlie McDonough before I do, which is the newest case in the Hunt a Killer series. Welcome back to the PewterCast. Like we said, it is time for the final thoughts on this game. Now, Ren, coming out of this London game, we had... I honestly, I gotta say, the InstantCast this past week was... it's hard for me to say if it's one of my favorite InstantCasts that we've had this season, but I think it was really a good show. Like, despite the game, despite everything, getting to talk to you, getting to talk to some of our fellow fans, the people in the chat room who joined us live, and even the people who've been interacting with us a little bit since then. I feel like I'm getting into some Disney film when I'm like, hey, we're all in this together. Like, we're joining this, but here it is tonight. It's just us. That, our feelings in that show were kind of, it wasn't pissed off. It wasn't, I don't know, how would you describe the InstantCast? It was more just...
You're making me not care.
Yeah. I'd use the word apathetic.
Yeah, you said apathetic. I said it was embarrassing.
Yeah. So that was kind of where we left the InstantCast of just a couple of days later. Mm-hmm. Has anything changed for you as you think back upon this game?
It wouldn't have, but listening to other podcasts, I'm a little shocked how sort of the talking heads and the national, including the national media, which the very few that sort of pop up on my timeline. Mm-hmm. I think I follow two. It's like Scheffner and Rappaport. That's really about it, Mm-hmm. That how it is this, how everyone's off the boat now. Like, I'm a little shocked by it. But, I mean, Jameis, when Jameis goes south, it's going to go like this. It just mm-hmm. is, And then I understand it's hard for you to trust a guy because it's fair to say that 2 of the 6 games he's played awful. Now, mm-hmm. I don't really think it's fair to say he played awful in the Niners game. But, all this talk about, after the Niners game, well, it's a new offense. It's a new offense coordinator. It took 8 weeks for Carson Palmer to get it. Like, all that stuff, mm-hmm. like, no one said it this week. Everyone's like, Jameis, like, is Jameis out of here?
Yeah.
Like, is he going to play himself out of here? Mm-hmm. Is Bruce Arians even going to stay this year?
Right.
Is Jason Light, like, you lose, like, James Winston throws 5 interceptions and loses a fumble, and all of a sudden Jason Light's job's on the line. It's like, what is going on?
Right.
It's like,
right.
I was shocked about the overreaction by, I don't want to say all, but a lot of the people that I listened to, of just how, and this is how I think about it. Like, just because you don't use the word we, or you can talk about the team's win or loss without getting, excited or depressed, like,
mm-hmm.
You stay even keel when you talk about it. When you have a game like that, and basically what everyone was doing was venting.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm like, oh, I'm not a fan of the team. It's like, bull crap. Yeah, you are.
I feel like I've been saying that for a few years, Ren.
It's like, well, I know, but
yeah.
And we've said that, and there are certain, people out there that are obvious fans of the team, but no one can say they are. Mm-hmm. You just can't say it as being part of the credentialed media, and I get that. But I felt just like everyone was just venting and piling on and, just totally forgot about the narratives that were before that. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm not making excuses for Jameis Winston, but I mean, he just probably had his 3 best weeks as a quarterback for the Buccaneers in a row. Mm-hmm. Like, like those 3 weeks were probably his best 3 weeks. And then it's just like you can't win with this guy. Mm-hmm. I just thought it was funny
right.
that
right.
it flips so quickly.
Yeah.
And, and the Bucs, even with all that, we were still, mm-hmm. I don't say we were in it. The possibility of us being in it were there.
We weren't it wasn't.
We weren't beating 45-10.
Right, exactly. People compare it to the Cincinnati game or was it the Bears game from last year or something like that?
35-0 at half.
Yeah, where there was just like, we're not climbing back into this game. Like that was never really the case until the very end, right? Which actually has been kind of the theme this whole year. And I feel like this...
Not until the last turnover.
Yeah, exactly, right. But I feel like this has been, Ren, the way this year has gone so far, 6 games in, is it's just been the pendulum swing, like all the way. Like there's no, you're either all the way over on this side or all the way over on the other side.
Yeah.
It just, like in each week, and this week I think we're kind of hanging out over on the other side because now we have 2 losses in a row, right?
Yeah, we started there, and then
right.
So if we didn't win, instead of a swing back, everyone just jumped.
Yeah, you're right, exactly. We're at the highest point, jump now. But
everyone's on the back of the Titanic with ass up, and they're just like, we'll just jump.
Right. So let me ask you this. might be actually a really good topic for debate. And I don't know if, well, yes, it will be your personal opinion as well. But what is the appropriate response coming out of this game as far as Jameis Winston goes?
Well, I don't like to get into that really. Like, I don't like to tell people where their fandom is.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't really like to sort of like, even though I guess I do about overreacting or underreacting or how much you care about the team or, if you spend money on the team, like I'm done with them. Like I'm not, you're not a true fan. Like all that kind of stuff. I sort of leave to each individual, and everyone's going to have sort of their own. You could ask 100 people, and give them a number line with 100 dots on it, and put one end 0 and put one end 100, and go put mark on one of these dots where your confidence in Jameis Winston is, and you might get 100 different answers.
It's possible, but I mean this is kind of coming into a spot where you had just said, hey, all the media guys, all the national media guys, all of these guys who are quote unquote unbiased, some okay, are overreacting. Like venting. It was full on venting. Okay, yeah. So I that's really where the impetus of this question comes from. Is okay, if we take that away, then really what should we be looking at? Is it hey, listen, don't forget, Jameis has had a couple of good games. He's had a couple of really bad games, because there are people who are ready to pull the trigger now and cut him now.
Yeah. And play who?
Well, Ryan Griffin is actually what a lot of people are saying. Just go ahead and put Ryan. See what we have in the young man. He's been around for 5 years.
Yeah. So in a year where you're trying to figure out what you have at quarterback before you pay him a lot of money, let's play 6 games and then make the decision.
Yeah, and that's where I am on this whole thing, and I'm going back to what I have said now for a couple of weeks of, hey, I'm along for the ride. Like wherever this goes, wherever this takes me, wherever we wind up at the end of the season, 6 games in, I don't want to say it's not enough. It's just nothing is going to change before the end of the season.
As far as what?
I see. I can't even say that
because Bobo Wilson will disagree.
It's fair enough. Who has been cut as we record this particular podcast? No, but I mean,
I know what you mean. Jameis is going to be the starter.
Jameis is the starter. Yeah.
BA is going to be the coach.
Exactly. And this is where we are. We got 10 more games to go at least. Probably that's it.
At least
until we make a decision.
You made me stop drinking coffee like mid arm swing. Like at least like what?
But these guys are going to play it out. So I don't know how many games Jameis could go out and throw 7 picks before BA would just call it enough and sit him. I don't know.
The rest of that one game, he's not going to sit him. Like nothing. There's nothing Jameis can do on the field. I mean, unless he throws 7 picks in the next 6 games. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like comes out against Tennessee, throws 7 picks. Comes out against Seattle, throws 7 picks. Comes out against whoever we play after that, Arizona, throws 7 picks. Then you're going to start going. Well, decision is made.
Right.
You have 35 interceptions in 9 games. Yeah, it's not going to work out.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So, because I want to play this forward, because we've always talked about how BA came out of retirement or whatever because he liked the situation in Tampa because of Jameis Winston, because Jason Light is here. Okay, let's play the what if game.
Sure.
Which I know you love to do, Ren.
Oh yeah.
Let's play the what if game. Let's say Jameis goes out and over the next 10 games he lays an egg. I don't care if it's midseason or we get all the way to the end of the season and they go, Jameis isn't it, pulling the cord, Jameis is done.
So you're saying it's off, so Jameis plays and the team decides that they're moving on.
The team decides they're moving on.
Okay.
Is BA look, BA does not have to stay in Tampa Bay. Like he can retire at any point he wants.
That's a nice t-shirt.
This one?
BA doesn't have to stay in Tampa Bay.
Yeah, BA doesn't
doesn't have to stay.
I mean, think about that. Like he's not looking to save his job. Like Cutter, Lovey, like all these guys, like they're trying to keep their job. BA is here as long as BA wants to be here.
Right. And he'll get frustrated and quit before he gets fired. That's right.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So if Jameis isn't the guy,
but he is trying to save the job of the guys behind him.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. You know, there's something. I don't know if it's written in stone, but there's a plan for BA be here like 3 years, unless they win the Super Bowl after 2.
Uh-huh.
And then after 3 years, somebody on the staff is taken over.
Be it Bowles or maybe – see, it's way too early to say Leftwich, right?
Yeah. Well, it's way too early to say Bowles, too, for Christ's sake.
Well, now it is, right. No, but if you go back 6 months ago, maybe it wasn't that early.
Yeah, and Leftwich would have been in the conversation.
And you go, who's the heir apparent? Harold Goodwin? No, it's got to be Bowles, right? It's got to be one of your coordinators.
Hey, remember when you said Buckner?
Ren. I've explained that one, and I'm not going to explain that one again.
I don't remember.
Moving on, huh?
I don't remember your explanation.
No, it was it's one of those. You see, that's what people out on like Facebook are talking about. So I bring it into the show for discussion. Fans are talking about it. I bring it into the show, and I let you say how dumb or stupid or smart some of those ideas are. Anyway, point being. So
that's what
the team moves on from Jameis.
Yep.
Okay. And BA is all for it. He walks in, he and Jason Light and all those guys say, look, he's done. If Jameis goes, does BA choose to go? Or
who cares?
Does Jason Light go? Because these three names are all attached.
They kind of are.
Yeah. So,
BA's sort of the linchpin holding it all together.
Yeah, it's like he's the decision maker.
If BA goes, then like the other two are probably already gone or out the door.
Right.
If Light goes, BA probably goes, and if BA goes, then Jameis probably goes.
Right.
If Jameis goes, Light probably goes. And BA goes because Light's gone.
Right.
Yeah. So if any one of those dominoes fall,
the
other two probably are,
you'd think so. I mean, it could wind up completely different. BA may want to come in and maybe let everybody else go as far as Jameis and Jason, and maybe he's willing to take it under his wing. But
you think BA would want to be the GM?
I was having that thought. And I don't know. I really don't. Like,
I can't believe we're having this discussion after I just blasted people.
Yeah.
Saying.
Yeah. Well, we'll still couch us in the what if. This is purely hypothetical right now. This is not predictive. I don't know. It's a good question. I was thinking about it earlier today. Of just I don't know that BA strikes me as a guy who wants to deal in contracts and numbers and negotiations and stuff like that a GM would have to deal with.
That's Greenberg,
right? But the GM's still got to be a part of that, though, right? So
I mean, you'd think so,
right? I don't know. Is John Lynch available? Let's get him. He's done okay. All right. Anyway, bring it back to this game.
All right.
So
what game are we talking about?
Yeah, the Panthers game, the London game, that thing.
Taunton.
Okay.
The Taunton Spurs.
Right. I mean, my feelings have not changed at all coming out of this game. I said it. I think I said it on the InstantCast. I was like, look, I'm not jumping ship. I'm just going to head to the back of the boat and take a nap for a while and wake me up when something cool happens.
Yeah, wake me up in 2 weeks. Wake me up at kickoff.
Right. Oh, are we playing? All right, let's see what happens.
Against the Titans. Yeah. And then I'll start weighing in.
Yeah, let's see what happens. All right.
I'll start to get emotionally invested.
That's probably how it will go, because that's what being a fan is about. I'm checking out for 2 weeks, and we'll be back. But I'm going to Disney with my kids. I don't know, Ren. That's where I am.
My feelings are sort of still the same. I still don't think it's a problem with the offense. I would have liked to seen our number one offensive line against their front seven to see if the offensive line really is a problem,
right?
Or is it just that the depth is the problem? I really would have liked to seen that, because we all praise how great they did against the Rams, and then the Saints, who have turning out to be a hell of a defensive team, they just won a game 10-2 after they just won 12-10, and in between was our game.
And how many points they put up with us?
109,
something like that.
No, wait, 107. They missed the 2-point conversion.
Right. It was divisible by 3, whatever it was.
So the Saints aren't, as bad as people might have thought that Saints game was for the offensive line. It might have turned out to be just sort of that's the kind of game that everyone has against these guys' offensive line. So I'm not sort of down to the dumps of the offensive line yet, but that, still, I mean, I've been harping on it since the Panthers game, and I really harped. No, it started at the Panthers game. Middle of the field's wide open, can't cover tight ends.
Yeah.
And then I was just gonna say I really got on it after the Rams game. I mean, I'm sorry, man. Like, I've defended Vernon Hargreaves, injuries, Mike Smith's defense,
right?
But he's been called soft 2 weeks in a row, and he didn't do anything about it in between.
Yeah.
Remember Mike Smith's defense? He's playing so far off, and then Mike Smith to come out and goes, he can play off far as close as he wants to.
Right.
Now we got another coaching
staff. No. So that happened, and we were like, yeah, okay, Mike, but is he really though?
Yeah.
But
sure,
is he really, Mike? Sure, Mike.
No one would choose to play 14 yards off the ball.
Right. No, Mike. Vernon's a press corner. If you let him do what he wants, he's going to be a press corner. And then he comes out and he plays like a couple plays up, and you're like, oh, look, he's a press corner, right?
Yeah. And now you're playing too soft, and then you do it again. Like, he just does not. I don't know if he's afraid. I don't know if he thinks that that's where his best spot is. But I mean, I don't know how you could.
Mm-hmm.
It's the old definition of insanity there.
Yeah.
It's like and Carlton Davis he kind of reminds me of Ryan Smith now. It's like he's in position, but he just can't do anything when the ball gets there.
Can't make
He's
a play.
in position. He can't make a play.
Yeah.
Can't make a play.
Yeah.
Looks like MJ Stewart's hit the bench, and they got Sean Murphy Bunting out there now playing mostly slot, if not all.
Mm-hmm.
And he's still like he's walked like Richard Dreyfuss boarding the alien ship in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. He's just all starry eyed and looking around, big old goofy smile on his face, like, hey, I'm playing the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Jamel Dean, I don't know. He was healthy, didn't play at all.
Right.
Maybe that they're doing the same thing they did with
Devin White.
Yeah. It's that defense is and it's not the defense. It's the secondary.
Yeah.
It's not the defense.
I'm going to say something, and you're going to disagree with me, but it's okay. I'm going to get it out there anyway for people to think about or not think about, whatever. But when you talk about, it's not just the whole defense, it's really just the secondary. And you're right about that, because our front seven doesn't suck.
No.
The pass rush, maybe there's
it's good enough to not lose you games.
Yes, exactly. Thank you. It's not a high point of concern. I've heard some people pointing that out of, the pass rush was whatever. It's not as good as it could be, but it's not the reason we're losing games. But that secondary, yes, is the reason why we're losing games. And I got to wonder in that secondary room about the voices and the leadership, the cult, like, is there something a little bit more intangible? And the one thing that I think back to is it was either Brent Grimes or Deshaun Jackson. I want to say it was Deshaun Jackson. When he left here, he left a note for Vernon Hargreaves that was basically, hey, just go get that money. Just do this.
Right.
Like, it wasn't play the game, love the game. It was go get that money. Now, I'm not hating on anybody for getting that money. You know what I mean? Like, go get your money. That's fine. Do it. You guys are all playing the game for a reason. I get it. But I wonder if those two guys, especially, who I don't believe were good locker room guys, Brent Grimes and Deshaun Jackson, I'm talking about. I wonder if that has rubbed off on specifically Vernon Hargreaves, who is kind of the elder statesman.
Yes. I'm going to cut you off right here. Vernon Hargreaves sucks. Let's face it.
Yeah.
He sucks. He can't play corner. He can play nickel? Maybe. Could he play against number 2? No, he can't. You know why? Because he got beat by Moore. He got beat by Samuel.
Right.
He got beat by their tight end. He got beat by the back. He got beat by everybody. He gets beat by everybody.
Right, but how do you explain everybody else, though? Carlton Davis and Sean Murphy Bunting and even Mike Edwards and
Mike Edwards didn't even play.
I know, but when he was playing,
but
he's not been doing nothing. I mean,
but you could do that. He's had less than 6 games he's played. Like,
that's
Edwards,
fair.
you can talk about rookie. Carlton Davis, you still don't know. It's like you see it, but the problem with Carlton Davis is if you're not doing sort of like a slant or a dig or an out, if you're running a straight line pattern, he just can't keep up with you. He can't. He's not fast enough. Yeah, he's big and long, but I said in InstantCast, all the Panthers did was throw third window crosses. Not all they did, but when they needed to play, they threw third window crosses, and Devin White couldn't keep up. David couldn't keep up. Hargreaves couldn't keep up. Whitehead couldn't keep up. Adams couldn't keep up. Murphy Bunting couldn't keep up, and Davis couldn't keep up. Those guys had like 2 or 3 steps of separation, and as long as it, the protection held up, it was an easy throw.
Yeah,
and it is beyond unimaginable how these quarterbacks that could come in that have zero experience and just look and throw for 300 yards and and touchdowns. Like Bridgewater, defense won him his first start. Defense won him his second start. He won the third start, and now he's back to the defense won. Like he can't put the ball in the end zone. He has 1 touchdown pass in 5 games outside of the Bucs game. He threw 4.
Right. But I apply that to this past game with the Panthers with this with Kyle Allen, is that his name? All we heard going into this game since Cam got injured or got sat or whatever and he's come in is the team has won in spite of him. Well, I'm not saying that I saw the next Aaron Rodgers on the field the other day with the Buccaneers, going against the Buccaneers, but he didn't look bad either.
No, he looked great.
Yeah.
And that was not in spite of performance.
Right.
Neither was Bridgewater's.
Right.
Hey, guess what? You hear anything about Josh Daniels anymore? Danny Dimes?
No, you mean Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
The Giants guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Josh Daniels was that coach up in New England.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. Daniel Jones.
I
don't hear
anything about either one of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, Daniel Jones isn't all of a sudden all over the goddamn NFL anywhere.
Right.
Like, it's there are a lot of bad teams in the NFL this year, and guess what? We're one of them.
Yeah.
We're one of them.
Yeah. I don't know. You're right, Ren. You're right. It just, I don't know. You start doing that thing when you get into these situations. You start looking for other reasons that could also be affecting the team.
Yeah, it's not a note that D-Jack wrote Vernon fucking 8 months ago.
Well, I wouldn't blame the whole thing on that. I mean, Vernon's not great. Let's be honest. He's not.
Vernon's toast.
And here's the thing. Okay, let me ask you about Vernon. Okay, because
he shouldn't be starting.
Our history with Vernon has been, hey, Vernon came out as a rookie, was okay.
Had the highest completion percentage against him of any starting corner
as a rookie,
and any qualifying corner.
Okay.
Yes, when they threw at him, more balls were completed than anyone else, and the most yardage.
Okay. Second year, he comes out, he plays half the year soft. He's
terrible.
Bad. He's horrible. He goes over, he plays 1 game on the other side.
Right.
And has a pretty good game.
Yep.
Plays the slot a couple of times, does okay there, and then he gets injured and he's done for his second year.
Correct.
Comes back, has a good camp. We're like, hey, I'm kind of excited to see Vernon. I want to see what he can do.
Yep.
Goes out first game, blows out his knee or whatever it was he blew out, done for the year in his third year.
Shoulder.
Comes back this past year, his shoulder. Comes back this past year, has a good camp. We're hearing,
a great camp.
Yeah, great camp. The defense is feeding off of him. Excited to see what Vernon can do, right? Like let him put it out there because he was having a great game right before he got that shoulder injury last year.
Yeah, he was having a good game.
Okay, now we're 6 games into it.
Mm-hmm.
The tape is out.
Yep.
Vernon sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has not improved 1 iota from his rookie year.
So we have our answer.
Yeah.
With this
the
guy.
answer's made. Like he's played enough games.
Yeah.
There's no more excuses. Like it's when a guy who's making his 5th overall start in the NFL, when the team goes, hey, we're going to win this game. We're going to target the other team's number 1 cornerback.
Mm-hmm.
That was their game plan. We're going to find Vernon Hargraves and we're going to throw at him.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked, and it always worked, and it always has worked.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
So kind of the same place.
Same place. Yeah, same place. All right. So you're not overly worried about the offensive line. We've still got good pieces.
I'm worried about the offensive line. I just would have liked to seen Kappa and Dotson go up against these guys.
Right.
I just think it would have made a better game. Like Jameis, no one did any Jameis favors. I'm making excuses for Jameis, but it's like there was no perfect pocket. When he didn't get hit, it was like he was in a trash compactor. Like the walls were closing in on him.
Right.
And they did a really good job of staying in their lanes and just squishing the pocket on top of him. Like no offensive lineman had a good game.
Right.
Right. People had you had an okay game or you had a really bad game.
Listen, the first sack by Gerald McCoy, I think it was by Gerald McCoy was the first sack, but it was Gerald's first sack of Jameis.
Yeah.
You know who he blew past to who he beat to get to Jameis?
Marpet.
Ali Marpet.
Yeah.
Our best offensive lineman, Ali Marpet. Jensen lost 1 at least, and I'm not going to recount 7, or 5, whatever, however many it was. But
there's something 14 sacks in the past 2 games.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like I said, James was getting 0 help.
Right.
Mike Evans even said after the game he had a terrible game. Yeah, you did.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? That's not the only one you've had.
Right.
You've had 3 out of 6.
Mm-hmm.
Howard now, it's like he's getting traded. And this might be me overacting. Good. Like, get the
Mhm.
hell out. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you don't block that well, and you
Right.
can't catch. And it seems like you just don't care, you know? Like, you're not razor sharp focused when you're out there,
Mhm.
because I think just as many balls have gone off your hands than you've caught this year. I'm just, you
Yeah.
know, it's embarrassing. It's just like,
Yeah.
it's like you don't understand why. Like, you get the number one pick, the number one quarterback, Heisman Trophy national championship winner, you know, can't get out of his own way off the field to start it off, and everyone hates him. Like, Jameis is never in those Heisman Trophy Toyota commercials. You know, the Heisman House on
Mhm.
Saturdays. You ever seen him? Jameis
No,
has never been.
Yeah, I don't watch that, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, they got all the past, and they're funny, they're hilarious, you know. But Jameis has never been in one of those,
Right.
You know, Mariota's been one, Baker's in him, you know, Kyler Murray's in him, Tim Tebow's in him, Eddie George, like a whole bunch of other, like Jameis is in there.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to touch this guy, you know. Like, Mike Evans has, you know, like I said on InstantCast, he's not an elite receiver, he's not a top 5, he's a top 10,
Right.
because you throw at him 30 times a game, you know.
Well, not lately.
Yeah, like Godwin outplayed him. Like, Mike didn't have a good game. Remember, he had like 9 catches and 90 yards because they targeted him like 17 times.
Mhm.
You know, and like that was it. Like, oh, I can't let my boy Mike Evans be shut out like that. So, hey, did you have any doubt that Jameis wasn't going to fire the ball to Mike Evans on that first play?
No.
Everybody knew it.
Yeah. Absolutely. I did. I didn't think. I know you said that you thought the throw was good. I still don't think that throw was very good to Mike. It was low. It was low and outside, like.
But it was the only place he could put it for it to not be picked off by Kuechly.
And it still got picked off.
Exactly. So why the hell are you throwing it?
Yeah.
It's that thing where, you know, it's like, oh, my arm talent could get it in there. No, it can't.
Yeah.
And it hasn't. Like, you couldn't do it in college. You know, you just had enough guys around you. Like, they threw 5 interceptions the first half against Florida. They still won the game because Florida had a terrible freaking offense that year. But, you know, he's been doing that. I think he threw like 3 or 4 against Boston College, was down 35-0, and then came back to second half. They won like 42-35, and like he was off and running. But he's always had, like, your arm talent isn't that good. And then he'll make a throw, like I talked about InstantCast, like over JV and Elliott, and he dropped into Evans. He dropped it into Godwin.
Yep.
And it's like, dude, that is like a big money throw. The deep ball is fucking awesome this year. You know,
yeah, if you just get a receiver to catch it.
He's put it right on the money.
Yeah.
You know, the only bad one was when he got hit in the shoulder where he was trying to go deep to Miller in the Rams game.
Right.
And oh, by the way, Scotty Miller does not want to put out any extra effort. He's like Deshaun Jackson that way. If you don't hit me like in stride, I'm not putting effort. He didn't even try to like go and come back to the ball, break it up. Mike had to put his arm in there and get it all banged up to break it up. But, you know, Scotty Miller's not the problem. It's the secondary. The offensive line, it's a little worrisome after that game, but that's not the problem. It's not the problem that we don't get to run the ball enough. You know why? Because we're down so much right away. You know, it's the same crap.
It is.
It's Mike Smith's defense with a better run-stopping game, and the pass rush is, you know, I would say slightly better, you know? But, yeah, it's still – and it's just so frustrating because we spent so many goddamn draft picks back there.
Yeah.
And none of them have seemed to pan out.
Over so many years. And it's I mean, Ren, it's so frustrating because it's getting to that spot where it's the same thing year after year after year. And I want to say I was somewhere in the offseason or something that I had pointed out, like the length of time of that dry, dark period of the 80s, like in through the early 90s. Like if you do the math on it, like we're approaching that same amount of time now, like as a second valley of depression or whatever.
Not quite, but yeah.
We're close. We're getting close.
Well, no, I don't mean year wide, but I mean, and that like 5 wins was like the max.
Yeah.
So we had like 10-6 and a 9-7 season where you could kind of just poke your head up out of the water for a year.
Right.
Get a little sunshine on your face or the Kraken yanked you back down to the depths.
Right.
But yeah, you're right. As far as like length of not making the playoff or really being relevant, on a consistent basis, yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah, we are. We are. Okay, Ren, last topic that I want to talk about.
Vernon Hargrave's fault.
Well, last topic I want to talk about before we move on. and take a look at the emails that have come in for this week. So we've talked about the team and kind of gone through the team, and yeah, I don't know. I wish that I had something better to say about this team, about this episode as a whole, but I don't. But I do want to end on Bruce Arians though.
Sure.
Bring it back to honestly where it matters, because this is the mitigating factor for me right now. Bruce Arians is still, I think, the unknown factor. And the only reason why I really say that right now, because we're only 6 games in to his tenure,
right,
and his coaching staff's tenure.
Yeah,
that is not enough time to make a final decision on anyone. Especially, sure? Yeah, I am. Especially a coaching staff where so much of what they're playing with is left over from the last time. Like, they haven't reformed this team yet. You know what I mean?
Draft picks, and that was it.
Exactly. And there's the you got to get the playbook installed. You got to get the system going. The guys have to figure out that you actually mean business. Like whatever all of those things are. And what we heard from people out in Arizona was, hey, BA went, I think, 3-5 in his first 8 games, his first season in Arizona, before they went on like a 6-2 run to finish the season. Mm-hmm. Okay, well, we're still in that first half of the season. So, if we win 1 game over the next 2, which we might, that's history repeating itself, at least so far. So I'm willing to give, like, I said this in episode 1, I'm out on Jameis.
Right. Like,
after the 49ers game, I declared on this podcast, I'm out on Jameis. He could still possibly win me back, but I'm done. The secondary, Ren, maybe I didn't catch it after the first Panthers game, definitely after the Rams game. I gotcha. And I got to tell you listen to every podcast in Buccaneers land today. They're talking about Jameis. They're talking about the secondary.
Yep.
They're all talking about this thing that really you've been talking to us about for several weeks now. I know other people have mentioned it here and there, but I'm with you. I'm out on these. The only thing that I'm not ready to just completely pull the plug on is I'm not out on Bruce Arians yet.
No, I'm not ready to completely pull the plug on anything.
Yeah, because we got to because that's the thing that kind of keeps everything afloat, I guess, for me, right? Like, that's hey, I'm not jumping ship, but I'm going to go take a nap. Wake me up if something fun happens. Like,
but what makes it harder this year is that there is no Drew Brees. There is no Cam Newton. The Falcons have won 1 game. Mm-hmm. They just lost to the Cardinals. Yeah. We faced, a quarterback who everyone laughed at for getting drafted, gets his first start, and comes back from 18 points down. These are the things that are making it. It's not like we went into this the Superdome, and it's not like Bridgewater's lighting it up. It's not like Breeze did a Breeze thing. Like, okay, it was a close game, we could have won. Mm-hmm. Little play here or there, kind of like all NFL games. Right. When you're a 8-8 or better team, right. Play here, play there. We could have, we need to execute better. Blah blah blah. But they're not close. Mm-hmm. Like that Saints game was not close. They scored halftime. They scored. Game was over. Mm-hmm. Game was over. So I mean, I don't know. I mean it's
weird. It's weird because you say they're not close, but yet we were also sitting here saying, but we were still in it. Like, we weren't out of those games.
Yes, right? We were we were It was mathematically possible.
We were 1 score, maybe 2 scores out, or 1 possession, 2 possessions out. Right?
Yeah, possessions.
Yeah.
Because it was like 16 points.
Right.
So you had to get 2 touchdowns
and 2 points. Yeah.
Just to tie it.
Right.
So it just, it's one of those, the other team didn't feel like they weren't in control. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just, and that's what makes it, like I said, it's frustrating because it was all there, especially after the Rams game. Even though we're trying to find out that the Rams, without Todd Gurley, the Rams are nothing, apparently. That we went in there, beat a team that no one thought we should beat, and did it in a resounding way, even though, yes, the secondary was terrible. And then the whole NFC South was out there on a platter. Mm-hmm.
Right.
And you just spit in their faces. Like, you just spit in our faces. And it's not even the defense, the secondary isn't even competitive anymore. Like, they're not an NFL secondary. They can't compete. Yeah. And I don't even know what to do anymore.
Come on this podcast and we'll talk about it every week until it gets better.
But but you're like, well, we'll just start like Murphy Bunting and Jamel Dean.
No.
But yeah. But are they not any better? I mean, we had the same conversation last year. Like Kappa cannot be any worse than Beninock. But then Kappa got in, and guess what?
He was.
Then,
yeah, last year he was.
Yeah.
And
so now it's like, okay, these guys coach him up. Well, God, it's just so damn frustrating. I almost wish that Rojo was a bust and the secondary was good, because all these questions we've had, James, of course, still a big question mark, but all these questions we had about the offensive line, about Rojo, where's the rush going to come from? All the questions we had seem to have come up at least positive. Ryan Jensen, Donovan Smith is at least not getting yelled at. He's been fine. Kappa, Rojo, Chris Godwin turned out to what he was supposed to be. OJ Howard's still a huge disappointment, but
Cam Brate still hasn't come back from signing his contract extension.
It's not his fault. It'll throw it to him,
right?
But I would rather have one of those miss than just have like the last 8 picks in the secondary all not hit. Yeah. Like like we had a caller in InstantCast and it was like, well, Jordan Whitehead's actually pretty good. Oh yeah? Is he a Pro Bowler? No. Well then what the hell are we talking about? It's like Carlton Davis, our best cover corner. So what?
If you're the best of the worst, come on, man.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It's like who cares?
Yeah. And we come down to a spot with this of where we just sit back and truthfully the only thing we can do is wait and see,
If Tannehill beats us, oh my God. I
swear
to God.
What if swear to God, what? If Tannehill beats us, what? You're gonna turn in your press credentials?
Yeah. Mark my words. God, I was listening to that. So never mind.
Yeah.
It's just he's just gotten worse.
All right.
It's so ill informed.
I know. All right.
It changes from like week to week. It's like, oh God. It's like whatever.
All right, Ren. Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't we go ahead and
Brent.
Yes. Why don't we go ahead and take a break? And we'll come back on the other side, read some emails because
we're gonna wrap this up.
I can't drone on about this shit show anymore right now. Like this is grueling. Hope the fans are still listening with us. You guys are still out there. Because
this one we should label this one. This one's for us.
Yeah, right. It's okay if you guys don't listen to it.
This one's for us.
Yeah, I don't
know, but to sort of put a positive spin on this at the end, because I was thinking about this all day. It's like I can be positive about this and this and this. I thought I just to sort of like dump on Jameis and just throw him overboard after this thing, and I understand the frustration, but it's just not going to happen. Right. And you're going to be back on board with Jameis eventually sometime this year because he's going to have a great game, and
he's going to have a series of great games.
Yeah. He just is, and and then eventually always the back of your mind. There's gonna be this freaking debacle coming somewhere.
Yeah. Because Ren, that's what I said at the InstantCast. Jameis will be good for several games, and then he's going to have one of these. And the only thing that I've come down to a conclusion after 5 years of watching this guy is he's inconsistent.
No, and he's consistent. He's extremely consistent.
Consistently inconsistent. No, but he's gonna. What do you mean he's consistent? He's gonna do this. He's gonna have 3-4 games where he's really good, takes care of the ball, protects it, doesn't throw anything, and he's gonna turn around and have 7 turnovers in the next game. And you're gonna be like, what in the world?
If you could set your watch by it, it's consistent.
So he's consistently flip-flop, whatever. Okay, however you want to say it, whatever. But this is who we have learned Jameis is, and I don't know that part can be. Just when it's like just when it seems like you're like, okay, he's turned the corner. You said, Ren, on this show, I don't think we're ever going to see 49ers Jameis again.
No, I did. Yeah, I did. I said I think the worst game we're going to see is Panthers Jameis.
Yeah, and I believe that was.
He didn't get the memo.
He didn't get the memo.
Yeah, he did not hear me.
Right. But he turns around and he does it, and it's like, holy crap, dude.
But here's the thing: sort of defend it, put the like Jameis, and this is kind of sort of stupid, but Jameis didn't quit.
No, he didn't.
Of course he did, but he was out there competing hard,
right?
And he was getting pummeled.
Yeah,
he was getting killed. He had people grabbing his face mask. Like that first fumble.
Yeah.
The dude busted through the line and grabbed his face mask.
Yeah.
And then swatted the ball away.
Yeah.
No call.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like, all right. Anyway, but he he won't quit. And it sounds so stupid. Well, that's not a great thing. But if you look at it, like you said, like there was still a chance. 7 turnovers. We should really make it 5 or 6 because the last one was like the last play of the game.
Right.
So 6 turnovers and sort of the middle of the fourth quarter, you had you quote unquote had the ball for a brief second before Bobo fumbled it.
Right.
And you could have cut it to 1. Like you had the ball, you could have cut it to 1 score with like 6 turnovers.
Yeah.
And that's why I just that's why I believe because you're never out of it with this guy.
Right. And here's what you can't do.
But it might be the reason it might be the reason you are.
Right. But here's what you can't do is you can't put the blame of any of these losses over the last 5 years entirely on Jameis.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean?
So hard.
And the other side of that you can't do is you can't completely absolve Jameis of everything either.
No.
Like he is culpable, but he's not the only one, right? And that's where you see a lot of fans, especially you even see media people, like they want to put the blame on one person or one unit or one thing, and it's not just the one. It's really all of it around. But that being said, is that he is at least in part to blame consistently with these kinds of losses. And I want to say, like, what did we hear about Bruce Arians? He said about Jameis and those sacks. He's like, 3 or 4 of them were on Jameis. Like they were actually his fault. The other ones were ones that, circumstance or things around him or offensive line blew up or whatever. So I don't know.
Listen to these numbers.
Okay.
Now, some of them are skewed because of turnovers. Some are skewed because of pick sixes.
Okay.
But here you go. This is what the defense has given up. 31, 14, 32, 40, 31, 37. How do you win? Yeah. It's the same thing like I used to say about Mike Smith. It's a race to 40.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you win like that? Like I'm gonna look this up right now while we sort of get out of here, and I'll bring it up at the top. But I think that I don't even know how to look it up. Damn it. If you go back and look at those scores, I would bet that the Bucs are in the top 3 besides the Panthers game, the top 3 every week of giving up the most points.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Sure.
And how do you win NFL games like that?
Yeah,
you
score 55 points every game, and that ain't happening.
Like you see all these other scores where it's like 22 to 24, 22 to 27. You know, and it's like, oh, it's a
go back and we'll look at all the predictive scores. Like every time somebody predicts the Buccaneers score, they're going to win 27 to 24, 23 to 17, 20. Like it's all in that mid 20s to whatever.
They're going to lose 37 to 35.
It'd be more realistic. All right, Ren. Let's go ahead and take a break.
No.
You really want to keep talking about this?
No, I'm just.
Tell me about the secondary again.
I got to go back to the positive spin. Look, we got the Titans coming up, and then the Seahawks, and then the schedule gets a lot easier, and then we get some home games. So it's not over. I'm not sure the Saints defense can keep this up, but maybe by the time they quit keeping it up, Drew Brees comes back. So, but I don't believe. Sort of in the Panthers, I think Kyle Allen's luck is going to run out pretty soon here, and like the Saints and the Panthers aren't going undefeated, like they're not. But also be on the lookout because we're only 1 game better than the Falcons.
Yeah. Yeah,
we're only 1 game better than the Falcons.
Yeah. Well,
so we're coming out of this 4-4, Brent, just like we predicted.
Yeah.
We're going to beat the Titans and we're going to beat the Seahawks. Why? Seahawks like that team like the Rams. Like, I just know we're going to win this game.
Oh, yeah?
I do. We're just going to beat the Seahawks. How? Yeah. I have no idea whatsoever.
Yeah.
We just are. We're going to win these next 2 games, man. We just are. We just are.
And what are we going to do as a fan base when we come out winning the next 2 games? Regardless of how we got there. Don't give me well, it depends on how we got there bullshit. No. We win the 2 games. They go in as W's in the column.
First off, it's not bullshit, but okay, yeah.
No, but I mean, are we flipping the pendulum all the way back to the other side and give Jameis $30 million a year and,
Depends on how we win.
All right, Ren, let's get out of here. We'll be back. We'll be back in just a minute.
Do we win them like Rams or do we win them like Panthers?
We'll be back in just a minute with emails from our fellow fans. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Well, hey, PewterCast fans, listen, if you've stuck with us this long through this whole episode, let me just say thank you. This has been a hard week for all of us trying to figure out where we are and what we're going to say and what we're going to do with what happened after this game. But hey, listen, you stuck with us this long. You know that we were saying we're going to combine the first part and the second part of the episode together and do our final thoughts plus the email segment. Well, turns out as soon as we were done with recording this first half, we looked up and we were already right at an hour. So we decided during the break we're actually just going to split it in two and kind of do our normal way where we have a part one and a part two. So that's going to mark the end of this episode for right now. But no worries. In just about 24 hours, we'll go ahead and release the next one, and you guys will get the second half of this Final Thoughts episode as well. As always, guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for being with Fan. Thanks for being in it with us. And we'll talk to you guys real soon. Go Bucs.